Hey YouTube, in this video I'm going to be doing a different kind of video. I'm not going to do a deck profile. Today I'm going to do one on just like Cardfight Vanguard in general. People have been asking me, how do you build all these decks? How do you budget, or like what's your budget for this? So I'm just going to go over briefly like my collection, or like the actual completed decks that I have. So as you can see, I'll just run through them real quick, and then I'll get into how I actually built all these and like what it involves in terms of like money and all that kind of stuff. So starting at the top, we've got Ancient Dragons. That deck is definitely going to change once Perdition comes out, or Blazing Perdition. That's going to add their Legion. We got Nubatama. I believe right now this is it's running the Break Ride plus the card that came out in the Fighters collection. Not Kasumi Rogue. I forgot the name of it. Something Congo, but anyway, it's this guy, Yozakura Congo. I have not posted that, so I may do a video. So I don't think I've ever actually posted this deck. But this is basically Nubatama. So I've got Tachikaze, Ancient Dragons, Nubatama, and then here's my Dauntless Drive with Dauntless Reverse, and then I'm running Transcendence Nouvelle Vague in here as well. So that deck is still around. Not sure yet if I'm going to take this apart when a Pain Laser comes out. And then we've got my Murakumo Legion deck with Yakivo Reverse. I did a video on this one, so if you're interested in Murakumo, check it out, because it's definitely one of the best Murakumo builds right now. And then I've got my Grand Blue Night Snow with Night Mist, the Break Ride. That's going to change just like Tachikaze. It's going to go Legion. Then we've got Maiden of Trilling Rose, really good Persona Blaster, a good mid-game up against Legion, and she's also paired with the reverse, Venus Trap Reverse. So I took out the Break Ride and went with all Maiden, so that's my Maiden deck. Probably won't change. And then I got Chaos Breaker, Infinite Zero, just old school, Link Joker. On the second row here we've got my Magus deck with Hexagonal and Pentagonal. I think Pentagonal's better than the Fighter Collection one, just because of the critical pressure. And then I've got my Amaterasu with Ohirume, Legion for Oracle Think Tank, and then we've got my Battle Sister deck with Parfait and Monica. And then we've got Fianna, the Witches with Riaz. This is like one of my favorite decks right now. And then obviously Yggdrasil right next to her. Then Phantom Blaster Abyss, one of my main decks. And then we got the Genesis Witches variant. Moving on, we have Mega Colony Legion with War Sickle. A lot of people say that the Break Ride Cyclone Tooth is better. I disagree, because I still feel like War Sickle is kind of like a do or die type of card, and they're both machining. This is machining, War Sickle's machining. I just think it's more consistent build. And then Tetra Burst Dragon, my favorite Aqua Force deck. My Link Joker, my Star Vader Link Joker deck. So this one is Garnet Star and Nebula. So I did a video on like all these decks, all the Legion decks that you see here, I've already posted online. The only decks that you would not have seen a video for are probably the Ancient Dragon, the Nubatama, and I don't think I did Night Snow. Yeah, I don't think I did Night Snow, because these were in the Fire Collection. So those three I might actually post in the future. And then moving on, we got my Pale Moon Legion with Silver Thorns. So this is Lukie Reverse with Cracking Beast Tamer. Then we got my Celestial Legion. This is paired with Zerakiel. And then my Bermuda Triangle Legion. This is the Riviera Legion deck. I did a video on that recently. Then I got the Deleters over here. Just standard Deleters. And then I've got my Amon deck. My other Dark Irregular deck, which I also didn't do a video on. This is basically the non-Amon variant. So it runs the Break Ride with this guy. And then we've got my Musketeer deck. This one will definitely change, because for Blazing Perdition, Musketeer, Neonectar is really the only clan that I'm really keen on building a deck for. So that one. And then I got my Beast Deities. Beast Deities is really the only no Grappler deck that I have. It's the only one I like. I don't like Blau. I don't like any of the other ones. For Perfect Riser, I'm not going to really do anything with Risers. I'm just going to ignore them for Blazing. I'll get into like budgeting right after this. So next I got my old school Tetra Drive Transcore. Still pretty good deck. It's kind of slow. Even with the Limit Break Enabler, it's still kind of slow. I definitely feel that Maelstrom Reverse is the better deck for limit break enablers, at least up against Legion. But it's still a pretty scary deck if you're able to pull off that break right combo with the the annoying transcore effect with every standing Vanguard. And then I got Rebirth with his break ride. This deck, depending on what I pull, it might change. And then we got my Great Natured Legion. I think right now I actually swapped it for Minette, so I'm not running the break ride in here anymore. It's too slow. And then over here we've got some of my favorite decks that I just kind of put off to the side. So these are ones I used to main, like Raging Form. I mained this one almost all last year until Minerva came out, and then I kind of like switched back and forth between these two throughout the year until Legion came out. So, and then Silverthorns was like one of my favorite. Ashley Reverse was also one of my favorite. So this is kind of like this little box, and then Maelstrom Reverse with his limit break enabler. He just got really good. But anyway, these are like ones that I kind of like put in storage right now, so I don't really run these anymore. So they're kind of like in this little box. And then I've got put these somewhere over here so they're out of the way. It's kind of messy over there. So then I got my Bermuda Triangles. So along with Seal Dragons, so I got Seal Dragons also. So yeah, just Pacifica, Prisms, Red, and with their break ride. So basically duos, Prisms, Pacifica, and Coral. So those are the 4 Bermuda Triangles plus my Riviera Legion deck. So Bermuda Triangle, that's just what it is. So that's basically all the decks that I have right now. In terms of how I was able to build all of these, so basically what I suggest doing, it depends on obviously your budget, but what I recommend is you have to be paying attention to the game, first of all. So when a new release comes out, for example, we're going to get, like this weekend is Sneak Peek coming up, and then we've got a week from tomorrow is the release. So what I do is I typically buy 4 booster boxes, and depending if some of my friends want to get in on the cards, like they might split the price of a box with me. So I basically have the budget. Typically, it's gonna cost. People are gonna ask this, so I'll just say what I pay typically is around like $200 US for 4 boxes. And with 4 boxes, you pretty much get an entire play set of all the rares. Sometimes you get a little bit more, like you might get 5 copies of something. Now, however, with Blazing Perdition and with set 16, that's not the case because they mess up the rare ratio by adding another double R, and because the set is so big, it's not that optimal. But most of the time, with a set of like 103 cards, you're pretty much always going to get a play set of all the rares. So that's one way. That way, I automatically have the ability to build all the decks that are released just from the rares and the commons. Now for the holos, what I do, typically there's clans that I main, and if cards come out in that set, I will definitely try to complete those decks. For example, Aquaforce. Aquaforce is a clan that I main, so if a set comes out with Aquaforce cards, regardless of if I pull 1 or none or 2 or whatever of the triple R's out of 4 boxes, I'm gonna complete it. So I'll go to the locals and I'll trade whatever. Usually I complete it like on the weekend after, or after I get my boxes. So I don't do it during Sneak because typically I don't recommend, unless you are completely desperate and you're not gonna be able to buy the boxes, I don't recommend trying to complete a deck from the Sneak, because sometimes it's unless you've got a lot of good trade bait, people are gonna they're gonna offer like bad trades, or they're gonna try to rip you off in terms of money. So I recommend getting the boxes, open all the boxes. That's gonna give you trades, good trades typically for clans that you don't play. So I'll give you an example. Set 13, I main Aquaforce, and this guy came out in set 13. This guy did not, and this guy came out also. I don't main Nova Grapplers. So if I had one of these, and if I needed one of these, depending on which one's worth more, I mean that's how you're going to determine your trade. Like if you're gonna be able to trade this just for a straight this, or if this guy's worth more. I don't remember which one was worth more at the time. I think they were kind of the same. But yeah, it's just you trade based on knowing the value of the cards. So that's one way to do it. The other thing, so like how I have these other clans that I don't main. For example, Mega Colony, I don't main them. Well, they're a budget clan, so their cards are real easy to obtain. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Another one, I'll give you one like, what's a clan I don't really main? I don't really main Kagero. So what I do in this scenario, how did I build this deck? Well, it's not what you would consider a complete deck. So there's only 2 the Rebirth in here, and there's only 2 of the Break Ride in here, but there's 4 Draconic Overlord the Ends in here. So back when I did main Kagero, I just combined that with the new cards I got. So I basically changed the deck up over time as they get new cards. That's what I do for clans that I don't main. For clans that I do main, like Revengers and Aquaforce, or I guess Shadow Paladins in general, I do actually do the trades and all that stuff to complete those decks. But I do that all locally. So, I mean, I've gotten comments before of people saying, do you trade, blah, blah, blah. Well, I do, but only locally. So that's why you don't hear me reply to that. But anyway, that's one way to do it. In terms of budget, really, it's saving up for the boxes. And keep in mind, the boxes only come out, like, normally it's like once every 2 months or once every other month. So you do have time to save up for that. It just depends on your financial situation, really. Like, if you don't have a job, if you don't have any way of saving up enough, then what I would suggest you do is, you know, get to know people that also like the game, that are in your area, go to local, stuff like that. And maybe they'll split the cost of a box with you, and you can share like that. That's another way to help reduce the cost. And also, it's what clans do you main? Maybe you know people that main other clans. Like, I know someone who plays Seekers, so he wants to build, like, Sing Saber Dragon, whereas if it was me, I was only building Aquaforce. So I was able to help out, and even though I didn't get all the boxes, I just straight up got the Aquaforce cards as a result of that for free. So, not for free, but, you know, like a discounted cost. So that's another way to do it. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to agree with that, but let me know in the comments, like, what do you guys do when how do you guys build your Cardfight Vanguard decks? Because that's one way I've been doing it for all this time, and it seems to work. I mean, I have quite a pretty good collection here, as you may be able to see. So it's like if I want to go to a local, or even like a regional, I could just, like, if I wanted to just run a top deck or whatever, I could just like grab my Revenger deck and just go, or I could, you know, go with something a little bit more rogue, like go Fianna, or go, I don't know, Grand Blue or something crazy. But anyway, guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you do when it comes to building your Vanguard decks? How do you budget for these decks? And what's the cost like in your area compared to what I have to pay? Because like I said, typically it's like $50 US for a box. I know that's kind of the same. It's the same kind of price in Singapore. So just let me know what do you guys do. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And as always, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.